Hi everyone, my name is Kelly Emerson and I'm with Sweetpea Stamping. You can find my blog at sweetpeastamping.tumblr.com. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to make this cute treat container from the Stampin Up Rosette Die. So stay tuned. Before I get started, I wanted to let you know that you have two options for your treat container. You can use designer series paper or plain cardstock. If you choose to use designer series paper, keep in mind that your container won't be quite as sturdy and you won't be able to fill it with quite as many treats. A plain cardstock treat container will be just a little bit more sturdy. The measurements for the container that I made are 4.5 inches wide by 12 inches long. You can adjust these measurements to be either larger or smaller. If you choose to make a smaller container, keep in mind that the smaller the container gets, the more difficult it is to put together. To make a larger container, you are restricted by the length of the Rosette Die, which is 12 inches long. But you can fold your paper if you want to make it longer. You can add more and fold it in, or just do two separate sheets of paper. I'm going to be using a plain cardstock for the treat container, plain real red. And so at this point, if you have a plain piece of cardstock, now would be the time to decorate it. Stamp it, add any other glitter or embossing that you want to add. The first step, once you've decorated your paper, is decide which edge of the Rosette Die you want to use. If you want to use the scallop edge or the picket edge. I chose for this container to use the scallop edge. When we get to the end of the demonstration, I'll show you a sample with the picket edge as well. And once you've got your cardstock cut, first thing you want to do is you want to add a score line. This is going to become the bottom of your box. You can either do your score line at 1 inch or 1.5 inches. I chose to do my score line at 1 inch because that's going to make my container just a little bit taller. Shorter, or if you do it at 1.5 inch, your container will be just a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller. Now once you've got your paper scored, you're going to go ahead and fold the score line, and then you're also going to want to start folding the scores that are part of the Rosette Die. Your container is going to have 2 flat sides and 2 sides that are accordion folded. So first you want to start out with your flat side. So you want to count in 5 scallops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do a fold at the 5th scallop. And then that's going to be your back side. Next you're going to do the first side accordion fold. So you count 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do another fold. And then you want to go ahead and accordion fold those score lines that are in between your first flat section and your second flat section, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 5, and that becomes the front of your box. And then you're going to want to accordion fold the rest of the folds that are part of the die. Now I've already got one done here, so you'll see I've got my back and my front, and then both the sides are already accordion folded for me. So what you want to do next is cut out the spots under the sections underneath your 2 accordion folds that you've got there, and that will give you the open sides there, and these 2 other flaps that are remaining will be the bottom of your box. At this point now you're ready to decorate your box. So because this is a treat container, I want everybody to be able to see what's inside the treat container, so I like to create a window. And for this window, I use the curly label punch. And I just put the punch, I centered the punch on the front panel of my container. And then I want to make sure that I've got that open window covered so my treats don't fall out. You've got a couple of options there. You can either use a window sheet or a cello bag. I just take a cello bag and cut it apart, and then I add a little bit of adhesive to the inside of my container. Take my piece of cello that I've already cut out, and I add it to the inside, and there I've got my window. Now obviously I want to decorate the front of my box. One of my new favorite sets is the Mosaic Madness set. I think this comes in a darling set. It has magic paper. It has a mosaic punch that goes along with it. I have seen some darling creations made with this in a Christmas theme, so that's what I chose to use for my treat container. So I just picked out a number of different stamps from that set and created some little pieces to go on the front. I used old olive paper and the silver glitter paper, as well as adding some rhinestone jewels. I also used the circle punch and the itty bitty shapes punch for this. Now the last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to add a little interest around my open window. So I created frames to go on either side of my window. And I used the curly label punch again to do these, and I'll show you real quickly how I did that. Using the silver glimmer paper again, I just took a small punch out of the edge of my paper, and then I just put the curly label punch in again just a little bit and punched, and that gave me a frame to add to the outside of my window. Now last I took the word Merry from the Pennant Parade stamp set, and using the word window punch and adding a rhinestone to that, I've got the word Merry. So now at this point I'm ready to assemble. I'm not going to put those on right now. Save some time. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble. So what I've done is I've added some sticky strip along the bottom edge of one of the flaps, and I've also added along the fold on the end of the box that has 7 scallops, I added another piece of sticky strip. So first you want to put the side together. And then what you want to do, since you've been decorating your box, your accordion folds have become a little loose, so I want to fold those up good and tight again. That's going to help get a nice good seal on the bottom of my box. Alright, so the last thing I did to my box was I decided I wanted to add handles to make it look like a little bag. So I snipped out the 3 middle scallops from the front and the back of the box. And I'm not going to, just want to show you what that looks like. I'm not going to finish. So then I just cut off the back one, and then I add my Whisper White Stitch Grow Grain ribbon. Add some treats on the inside, and I'm all set to give this as a coworker gift or a stocking stuffer. The other nice thing about this size of a box, where I did the 1-inch score on the bottom, so I made it a little taller, is a gift card will fit inside this box. I promised I'd show you a couple of other samples. For the 2013 Stampin' Up! Convention, I was part of a treat container formal swap, and so this is the container that I came up with. For this one I used just plain Whisper White paper, and I decorated it with a Kind and Cozy stamp set. I added a rosette on the front, along with a dahlia and a saying, and I used the peekaboo frames to create a frame for the front. So you can still see the treats, but it's hidden behind my cute rosette. And then I finished it off with the in color stitch satin ribbon. I also wanted to do a birthday theme. So with this one I used the Birthday Basics Designer Series paper. So I used that for the base of the card, and I also used that when I was using the Window Frames collection to create the window on the front of my box. And then I used the small oval punch and some baker's twine, and again the in color stitched satin ribbon for that. Now one thing I want to note is for your window that you put, you can use any of the framelits, you can use any of our punches, and in the last sample I showed you the Peekaboo Frames Big Die, so you can use a lot of different items to get your window on the front of your container. The last sample I want to show you is one where I used the picket side of the Rosette Die, and this is my Halloween container. I used the Halloween Hello stamp set, the washi tape, and the Stampin' Glitter, and you can see there's my picket fence. You'll notice with this container, this was a smaller container. I made this with a 4.5 by 11 inch piece of paper. It doesn't give me quite as big of a container. I only have 2 folds on the side, or 1 fold on the side, so I can't fit quite as many treats in my container. So I think I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger because, you know, Halloween is all about the candy, just like it says. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial to make this cute treat container from the Stampin' Up! Rosette Die. Please visit my blog at sweetpeastamping.tumblr.com for a list of materials for the samples I showed in this video, as well as additional stamping inspiration. Please make sure also to send me your email address to be added to my monthly newsletter. Thank you, and happy stamping.